What happens when the league's biggest box office draw steps onto the floor? A sold-out arena holds its collective breath, and the dazzling lights of opening night meet a roster that spent the entire offseason sharpening its claws. You get the Indiana Fever's 2025 debut, a 40-minute masterclass that shook the W and reminded everyone why Welcome to the Party is quickly becoming Welcome to the Dynasty.
Well, it is a final against the Chicago Sky, and it was the worst nightmare that the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese could have possibly imagined.
Today, we're dissecting Indiana's emphatic 93-58 takedown of the Chicago Sky, what it means for Caitlin Clark's Year 2 leap, why Aaliyah Boston is quietly the perfect co-star, and how a single night rewrote the WNBA's marketing playbook. Stick around until the end for our 3 bold predictions, including one that'll have Vegas scrambling to update the futures board. But first, basketball junkies, if you're new here, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss a drop of W Hoops content. Long before the opening tip, Gainbridge Fieldhouse pulsed like the inside of a subwoofer. By 9 a.m., 6 hours before warm-ups, fans snaked around the block for a shot at fresh Clark merch.
So as you guys can see here, he stated there is a line for Caitlin Clark merch around the corner at 9 a.m., an hour before the team store opens. 6 hours before tip-off, there has never been anybody like CC.
Inside, staff rolled extra racks onto the concourse just to keep pace. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert called Clark the most popular athlete in America, and this morning looked like Exhibit A in her closing argument. The Fever already led the league in attendance last season. Game 1 of Year 2 outsold even that benchmark, packing 17,274 loud, sign-waving believers into every nook. If the early ratings whisper is accurate, north of 3 million viewers, opening night will end up the most watched regular season broadcast in league history. Yet the hype wasn't just spectacle. It framed a simple question. Could the Fever turn curiosity into dominance? 40 minutes later, the answer flashed neon bright across the scoreboard. Let's start with the end. Chicago, a team that averaged 82 points during preseason tune-ups, finished with 58. They didn't crack 20 in a single quarter. That wasn't luck. It was an organizational flex.
Look at that, folks. That is a blowout, a drubbing, a smashing. I mean, it is absolutely insane.
All camp, head coach Stephanie White drilled 2 mantras: finish every possession and talk until your lungs burn. The payoff? Rotations on a string, stunts that closed airspace in the lane, and a flurry of deflections that sabotaged the Sky's rhythm before it ever established. Alyssa Thomas once said great defenses make you feel like you're dribbling in a phone booth. The Sky felt like they were dribbling in a thimble. Chicago's first option vanished, the second was contested, and by the third swing pass you could see doubt replacing timing. The Fever forced 18 turnovers, turned 13 of them into runouts, and dictated pace long enough for Clark to do what Clark does best: turn broken possessions into viral moments.
She came away with 20 points, 4 blocks, that's a career high for her, 2 steals, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. Like, who are you, Caitlin Clark?
Last year, skeptics argued Clark's wizardry would stall if opponents bullied her off her spots. She heard it. Instead of chirping back, she hired a nutritionist, doubled her strength days, and rebuilt her core for an 82-game future that suddenly feels inevitable. The first test came midway through quarter 2. Angel Reese, never shy about contact, sent a fever cutter sliding across the paint. No whistle. As Reese leaked out for what looked like a freebie layup, Clark closed the gap, wrapped up hard across the arms, and walked away as the rookie hit the deck. Chicago fans screamed flagrant. Fever fans screamed about time. The officials settled on a common foul plus a double tech for the ensuing stare-down. But the tape told a bigger story. Clark is done asking to be protected. She's prepared to protect herself. Moments later, she curled off a screen, launched her first logo bomb of the season, and cocked an eyebrow as nylon snapped. The message was clear. Hit me once, and I'll hit you twice. One with body, one with buckets.
Like, it is a basketball play, and an Angel goes flying. Angel gets hit, in fairness, and she just flies. And then jumps up and tries to go at her.
By night's end, her line read like a My Career glitch. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals. Her first professional triple-double, the earliest one in league history, and a $350K payday for a certain media mogul who slipped $25K on that prop right before tip. LeBron saluted her on X, Barstool cut an emergency podcast, and the W trended above 2 NBA playoff games happening simultaneously. Attention economy? Caitlin owns the shares. While the highlight machine whirred, Aaliyah Boston quietly stapled her resume to every GM's corkboard. 17 points on 8 for 11 shooting, 12 boards, 3 blocks, and the X-Factor play of the night. Body-checking herself between Clark and Reese to defuse what could have escalated. Boston's footwork in the post remains ballet-class pristine, but it's her defensive GPS that makes Indiana's scheme sing. She calls out backscreen lob threats, flips hips on switches, and boxes out like the glass owes her rent. Remember the chatter last summer about Clark needing an enforcer? Plot twist. She has one, and Boston doesn't need to shove to stand ground. She simply occupies space until opponents reconsider. That synergy, Clark's imagination up top, Boston's anchor down low, is what transforms good rosters into June survivors.
Destroyed the Sky in front of a sold-out 17,000+. Fouled Angel Reese. Angel Reese loses her mind, tries to fight Caitlin Clark. It's glorious.
Look beyond the stars, and the box score is littered with winning details. Kelsey Mitchell, running shoulder to shoulder with Clark in the backcourt, poured in 14 silent assassins, catch-and-shoot daggers every time Chicago dared dig off the strong side. But the glue of this rotation is Natasha Howard, the 3-time champ whose game is equal parts Swiss Army knife and security blanket. Howard's baseline motor never idles. She vacuumed 9 rebounds that should have belonged to someone else, sprinted end-to-end for a chase-down swat, and still buried a pick-and-pop 18-footer that stretched the Sky past their breaking point. And then there's DeWanna Bonner, the newly minted number 3 scorer in league history, bringing championship gravity to the second unit. Bonner's 12 points came on old pro timing, hesitation pull-ups, crafty seal and slip cuts, and one vintage baseline fade that sent the bench into orbit. More important, her voice steered every time out, mapping out Chicago's weak side rotations on an invisible clipboard, reminding rookies where to tag and go, and sprinkling the hard-earned calm that only 2 rings in 15 seasons can buy. Not everything can be chalked up to Indiana perfection. The Sky walked in with their own bright light storyline, Angel Reese's pro debut, and a new coaching staff preaching pace. They managed spurts, a 7-0 run early Q3, a pair of high-low connections that teased the front court's potential. But Indiana's sustained pressure turned their offense into one pass and pray. Chicago shot 4 for 22 from 3, and when long rebounds kicked, the Fever were already sprinting the other way. If there's a silver lining, it's Reese herself. She finished with 12 points, 14 boards, and bruises she'll probably Instagram later. Her motor never stalls, and when the half-court dust settles, she'll anchor a top-5 rebounding unit. But Saturday night proved the gap between exciting and elite is still a chasm, and Indiana's already building a bridge to the other side.
All right, y'all. Hey, good stuff. Okay, we did a lot of really good things. I thought our defense was really good, and when we had lapses, we played through possessions. All right, so we made things happen.
Let's pivot to the ledger. Ticket resale platforms reported a 220% spike week over week. Upper bowl seats that listed at $22 cleared $140 by tip. Social metrics tell the same story. Clark's post-game selfie generated 1.4 million impressions in 2 hours, more than the league's official handle accrued in all of 2019's opening weekend. Corporate partners see the surge. 2 Fortune 500 brands finalized jersey patch deals during halftime, according to a Sportico report that dropped Wednesday morning. For years, pundits begged the league to quit hand-wringing over charter flights and focus on revenue streams. The Fever just delivered a masterclass in organic monetization. Draft the transcendent talent, build infrastructure around her, then get out of the way. NBA players grumbling about coverage imbalance might want to redirect that energy. Clark isn't stealing views, she's creating them. Rising tides, boats, you know the rest. Prediction time. First up, Caitlin doesn't just flirt with a 2010-10 season, she makes it official. If her minutes stay in the 34 to 35 range and the Fever keep the pace they flashed, 101 possessions per 48, there's no historical comp that says she can't. Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double on 122 possessions. Clark will have fewer, but what she lacks in volume, she recoups in efficiency and the three-point multiplier. Bookmark it. Second, Indiana finishes top 3 in defensive rating. Last season, they ranked 9th, hemorrhaging points in transition. One off-season later, they erased those seams with simple concepts. Show early help, tag rollers, then finish the possession. If you watched Boston and Howard vacuum rebounds while Clark and Mitchell leaked, you saw the future, stingy on the first shot, lethal on the break. That identity translates on the road, where jumpers flatten but effort travels in first class. Finally, the spicy one. The Fever reach the finals. Yes, the Sun and Liberty still wear favorite on their lapels, and Las Vegas will raise 2 banners before Clark even stretches on that hardwood. But playoff series reward matchup nightmares, and Indiana's inside-outside punch is the most unguardable configuration since peak Phoenix. Slow the game, and Boston grinds you in the half-court. Speed it up, and Clark punishes your bigs in space. Add Mitchell's shot-making, Howard's vertical burst, and the bench's Swiss Army versatility, and you have a roster that can shapeshift on demand. Upsets happen when styles clash. Indiana is built to clash with everyone. Strip away the headlines and you're left with a simple reality. Basketball is better when stars meet stakes, when narrative converges with skill. Saturday night delivered both in high definition. It wasn't just Caitlin Clark's triple-double, or Aaliyah Boston's quiet dominance, or even the collective roar that rattled press row water bottles. It was proof that the WNBA's next era isn't looming. It's live. The league didn't stumble into relevance. The players forced the door open, dragged cameras inside, and started rearranging furniture. Fever fans left Gainbridge humming, "We want more." Sky fans left knowing they'd just seen the bar get raised. The rest of us? We're just lucky to be in the building for Chapter 1. If you're still here, drop a fire emoji in the comments so we know you ride for real hoops talk. Tell us which prediction you're buying, which one you're fading, and what matchup you're circling on the calendar. Subscribe, share, and keep these algorithms from benching us.